Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof!
G'day, how are you all going? It's Jon, that Aussie Metal Guy here with crank.com and with that metalstation.com. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, it is with great pleasure that I'm getting to have a chat with the one and only Darren Travis from the almighty SADUS. We're due to release Shadow Inside in a couple of short days through Nuclear Blast on November 17th. It is the 6 full length. Darren, cheers for joining me, my friend.
Fucking right on, man. I'm just getting my shit turned on here.
That's all good. We had a nice fireplace and some brutal fucking red light there. It is a busy time for you, Darren. I know. So thank you so very much for joining me to have a chat about the album. I know you got a stack of interviews set today. 16 years, I believe, since the last album. SADUS has never been a band to just release fucking albums for the sake of it. Can you tell me a little bit about the songwriting and creation process for this album?
Well, it's like back in 2009, we did a couple of tours, and everybody was just pumped, and we hit basically like the recession hit, and everybody really, it was 2008 recession, and everybody, I had to, feed my family. So I just I just buckled down, got a good job, and just started working. And, time just gets away from us. So, man, it's been a while. But yeah, so I started writing I didn't really play a lot of guitar because I was just working, and not a lot of inspiration. I was kind of fucking burnt on the whole shit that we did. And everybody was kind of just doing their own thing, and I think, Steve was like really super pumped to make some more new music, and he was writing, and man, he was pumped, and I just I think I let him down a little bit by just, life, he got me, and then Jon had a few issues going on with him, and he needed to take care of himself, and we all did, really. And time got away from us. Steve pursued other music stuff. He has to stay busy. That's his,
Yeah, he's in about 500 bands, Steve, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
He's in so many bands, hey? You just see a new band popping up all the time, and it's got Steve over there playing bass.
Yeah. Well, that's just, that's how, when you jump off that cliff, you either keep your job or, you're going music full time, and it's hard, man. It's hard to, I feel for him. Sometimes you have to play on some people's stuff, maybe he don't even like it, but it's, you do what you have to do to pay the bills. He's just doing what he has to do, and unfortunately, I was just like, he got so busy with all his things, and I was just off in my own corner, just writing stuff, and I came across this cool app on my phone, and I didn't really, as soon as I got an iPhone, I was like, okay, I'm gonna plug my guitar into my phone. And I had like a full studio in my phone. I was new to that, and I just started it was inspiring, and I just started writing all kinds of. So I had like 60 ideas on my phone, all these songs, and wanted to get together with somebody to jam, but everybody was busy, man. And so I just was like on my own for a long time, and I was like, okay, I'm just doing it for me, really, anyways. That's what I do. It's like I play guitar so that we all need to get that aggression out of us.
Yeah.
And you're in traffic, and you want to freaking beat the shit out of somebody because they cut you off or whatever, and come home and you just pound on the guitar. And that's kind of what I do to get some of my stuff out. And basically had a bunch of songs, and then I talked Jon into getting together, and he ended up living with me for a little while, just and we put set up in here in this little room right here, and it had an electric kit, and I bought some. That's why I got these monitors, and we were like just jamming all electronically, writing stuff, and we came up with we came up with 6 songs that we thought were really good songs of, you know, metal, and kind of just was like, I told him, you know, I was working with Juan Ortega a lot. He was one of the persons that was pushing me to, man, Darren, you got to keep going. I would play some of my music for him, and he's like, let's get that recorded. I got, and when Jon was around, he was like, I'll get you a drummer right now. Let's go. And I was like, holy shit, that's cool, you know? But anyways, Jon hooked us. We started going in the studio and recorded those 6 songs, and just for fun, just for my, we knew that it was going to be something.
Yep.
I didn't really know what. And so when they were done, everybody was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It sounds good. And I was like, man, I want to ask some people if anybody's, really interested in wanting to hear it, and one of the first persons I contacted was Monty Connor, and I asked him, do you know like anybody that might want to hear it, And he was like, yeah, me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I, sent him the 6 songs, and he was like, fuck, dude, we want to sign you. And I was like, holy shit, okay, cool. So then we had to put 4 more, we needed to make a record.
Yeah.
Or an album or whatever you want to call it. So we need like 10 songs. So we buckled down and wrote 4 more songs. I did. And Jon joined me. And the first, they're all those songs are exactly on the album, just the way we did them. So yeah. That was the record. So yeah.
It's an amazing record. A few points on that. I do want to come back to like you taking this time off. Like you were so busy from 1988 right through the 90s, so many live performances, and people don't realize sometimes how much you give of yourself being in a band and how much your family kind of misses out at times, and the guilt that goes along with it as well. So, kind of probably reaching that point, you were probably a little bit burnt out and needed that time to kind of sit back, go to a 9 to 5, be with the family for a few years. And actually,
my kids were right at that age where I had to be home. I had to freaking raise them, I had to make sure that they were good people, so.
Yeah, well, Frank from Suffocation recently called it a day as well. He's like, man, I've got to spend some more time with my family as well for the same kind of reasons. People do not realize how much you guys put into the work that you do. All we see is the videos and the albums and the live performances and go, wow, that's so cool. But you are sacrificing so much of yourself. So to kind of have that time at home and then to kind of refine that motivation and that passion to kind of create music again, not for anyone in particular, but just for yourself to begin with, would have been a very, very cathartic experience.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, especially for our type of music. You're like, you really want it to be, full. You don't just play a riff, like one riff and just riff out, or I don't know. Maybe we do, but you know what I mean? It takes a while to make something good, and it takes a lot of effort, and it's a lot of work. And when we started, I was like, I was rousting everybody, and everybody, it is a lot of work. Back in the day, we used to practice 5 days a week, every night. And you can't do that anymore, so you gotta work. And I'm still got 9 to 5. My day starts at 3:15 in the morning, and I just got home. So, and it's right now, it's 4:30, but then I had this at 6. So
thank you very much. These days you got to have a 9 to 5, like most people I talk to do. Like, because the way the music industry is at the moment, like you're talking about making this album. Like, I love whole albums. That's just telling my age. I'm in my mid-40s, and I've always been a fan of albums and the whole album experience. But it feels like sometimes this generation, I know metalheads, we still do that, buy our albums, but it feels like this generation forgets what a joy it is to dive into whole albums. For me, I absolutely enjoyed the heck out of this album. That opening riff from First Blood and the opening of that album, man, it just rips, and it kind of holds you all the way through to the bloody end of The Shadow Inside, which is a killer track to end with it.
That's what the goal is, when you write. For me too, because like back in the day, we would get an album, you would go and you would get that album and you would hold it, and that's all we had. You would hold that, and you would just imagine what you would see. There was no this, you couldn't get to talk to your fucking heroes, man, or you just would imagine, oh, that guy's so fucking wicked, man, or whatever.
And I know, and you'd rip out the album cover and it'd be like what the Google today was reading through the credits and the end and the shout outs from the band as well, and then shout out to other bands. You're like, fuck, I'm gonna go check that one out because they said fucking give them a mention on the end there as well.
Right, yeah, you had to thank your friends, all that stuff.
Yeah, I do got to quickly mention, I'm going to share this because this looks absolutely killer for everybody that hasn't got it yet. The vinyl and the tape cassettes. The tape cassettes, I'm loving that tape cassettes are back now, and that vinyl looks absolutely mint. And the CD for all the people out there, you must be glad to be able to get that on the vinyl as well. And tape cassettes are coming back, which is good. I know so many metalheads that are absolute keen collectors of the tape cassette.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Man, I still have like a whole box of chemical exposure cassettes.
Yeah?
Yeah, from like 40 years ago or whatever. Like the very first ones.
Oh, you need to chuck them up. Have you got them for sale? You need to chuck a couple of them up, man. I know some SADUS fans that would snap them up.
I usually just give them to like people, like good friends or like good people, that want them, that really appreciate the band. Otherwise, they just sit around. I got, a few things there, but I've given out a few to just good people, like on the socials, especially when I first came on. I was like trying to just rouse people out of the corners and crevices and everything to say, hey, is anybody interested?
You must be pretty happy with the reaction you've been getting as well from the tracks. That first single, I think it was It's the Sickness, that come out. I was really impressed with that. I've been hammering the tracks on my radio show as well. So tell us a little bit about those first few singles you released. Well, It's the Sickness, and then you had Ride the Knife and Scorched and Burnt.
Yeah, so the whole lyrics kind of came across this kind of like inner what has gone through me in the last 16 years or whatever, my life, and kind of in feelings that we all get. And I try to make it about everybody can relate it to themselves, hopefully. And each one of the songs, when I started putting them together, had a certain theme of that inner person in you that you that's always freaking either pushing you to do one thing or the other. And we also have, I don't know how to really explain everything, but like, like the devil in me that's an easy one to explain, because I was like feeling just anger and frustration. And I go, I got to write about this and just be that it's like the second person type thing. It's like, what we all have inside, that fire that burns, that makes us want to make the metal. And each one of those things kind of had a certain theme. It's not a themed record, but The Shadow Inside is that little fire that burns inside us that, everybody has in them, and we just need to, we got to let it out. And that's what metal to me is, it gives me that outlet of like, like I said earlier, I want to freaking just pound on the guitar so I don't pound on somebody's freaking skull,
It gets like that sometimes, and that's why we love heavy metal. We come back and it's such a a positive
That's why
thing,
we
and it
go to
doesn't matter.
shows.
Exactly. It doesn't
So,
matter if you're
yeah.
angry, you're depressed, you're elated. It's something that I've always come back to. And albums like this definitely, give me that kind of motivation as well, and kind of does kind of, you want to kick down your demons and keep fighting on. And the cover kind of perfectly represents that as well. You know what I mean? And you did work with Travis Smith again.
Yeah, that's kind of, we worked with Travis on the whole idea.
Yeah.
And it was like, it kind of explained to him, like, what the shadow inside kind of represents. And he came up with a great freaking cover, man. The guy's he's a great freaking artist, man. What can I say?
Yeah, well, that cover kind of represents the album as well. That comes back to me loving covers, people, and albums. You know what I mean? You get lost. I'd sit there with the CDs and the CD cover and listen while looking at the cover and going through the notes as well. So, seeing that the album art is still such a really big thing of especially metal albums for me, it's really, really great to see. And another thing that's great to see is, the career of you guys. You've come back after 16 years, reinvigorated. Like, you've got all the old SADUS fans, but you've also able to reach a whole new generation of metalheads and fans that, are discovering SADUS for the first time as well. Yeah.
I sure hope so. I don't know. I'm pretty.
Oh, you definitely are. We've got a younger DJ in his 20s, and I was like, man, I'm having a chat to Darren from SADUS. He's like, I fucking love those guys. And I was like, cool, man. That's awesome.
Right on. That's cool, man. So you're a huge cassette. I will send you a cassette.
Yeah, definitely.
Of the very first cassette that came out. It's at, the chemical exposure cover.
Yep.
That was why we made the cassette, because we made this album and we knew the Illusions album, and I have the art right there. And it wouldn't shrink down to a cassette. So we're like, oh fuck, we got to make a cassette. And then we're like, oh well, we'll just put a freaking something else on there, and we just made like a weird. We called it, because Illusions, after Illusions is the song Chemical Exposure.
Yeah.
And so we kind of just put them together.
Oh, dude, I'd treasure that, man. That'd be absolutely dope, because that's something I've actually gone back to now, buying cassettes, and I've got a nice little collection together as well.
All right.
Yeah, so that would be awesome. Thank you very, very much. I got to ask, all these tracks probably mean an absolutely great deal to you. They're all like your children, but have you got a favorite track for this week at the moment? Because I know it's probably going to change next week.
At first, I liked First Blood. I was just like, that song's going to be great.
It's a ripper.
I just wasn't happy with my vocals performance as much as I would like to be. And I was so rushed on it that my lead is kind of, didn't have anything written at the time, and we were just like throwing shit together. But I really like First Blood. I like the No Peace. That's a freaking fun one to play, man. That's a tough song to play. And I mean, all of them it's a certain time. It took me a while to get them all together. So that's what kind of gives it a nice feel. Like sometimes I would be in this mood, and then sometimes I would be in this mood, and sometimes I would just like, okay, let's just be his cruise, man, and so it gives it a little bit of a flavor, so you're not just fucking.
Yeah, well, it's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It comes back to what we were talking about, listening to whole records and going on a journey with the artist and the songwriter as well.
Yeah, so all the songs have a little bit of a place where I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh, fuck, I wish I could have did that better. That's how it always is, though.
Yeah. So what's the go? You guys interested in getting back and playing any live shows at all, or just gonna see how we go with the album release, or have you got anything planned at the moment? I know it's coming into Christmas and it'll be staying at home Christmas time at the moment, but New Year.
Yeah, we're playing festivals in 2024. So
yeah.
we'll be on the
European over in Europe there. Dude. Yeah, man.
But only 3 so far. But I'm writing it right now too. So I got time, and who knows what's going to happen. We just hooked up with a pretty big outfit that really wants to push us. So
yeah,
I'm not really, I haven't done it in so long. I don't really just want to just jump and travel all the time.
you want to balance too, as well. You want to balance at home, and you know what I mean, work-life balance.
Right. I'm not thinking of jumping on a big tour right now or anything. I would be even just more like one-offs for a little bit, just get my feet wet, let people see the reaction. I don't know what's gonna, people maybe, because you like it doesn't mean everybody, that want to see us live, or who knows. I just take it day by day, man.
Yeah.
And if people like it, fucking right on. If people don't like it, oh well, another one in the books.
Yeah, that's it. I dare say everybody is going to absolutely love this. The Shadow Inside does drop November 17th in a couple of short days. Look, Darren, this has been an absolute pleasure. I know you got a stack of interviews to get through. Thank you so very much, mate. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything you'd like to add in there, mate?
Hey, man, doing a lot of stuff for Australia, and I would really love to fucking come down and see you guys, man. Australia actually was one of the first places that we really hit big. Not really big, like big, but at the time when we first came out with our first record, I think it was Semaphore, was this
that's an Adelaide,
huh? You remember these guys? Semaphore, man, I must have shipped 8,000 records down there in 1989. Like,
I dare say some of the bands I've heard now, like I know there's a band Shadowbrain I listen to, it's like I can hear the influences from SADUS in it, and some of these thrash bands getting around here in Australia, really? I dare say, yeah, SADUS has had a direct influence in them bands in general. We've got a killer thrash metal scene down here.
Awesome. Yeah, we even had a, right when Swallowed in Black came out, we had a video for the song Good Riddance. And they played it on TV in Australia, and I was like, "Wow, that's cool."
Yeah, it would have been Rage. We used to do Rage. Would be cool, man. They'd have it about 2 to 3 in the morning. It'd just be fucking metal vids, man. It was cool. You come back after a night of partying, cross-eyed, fucking sitting there and blast out to a couple of hours of fucking metal on Rage. So there we go. Look, Darren, thank you so very much, brother. Look, congratulations on the release. Thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of the Bloody Legends with Jai That Aussie Metal Guy and Jim Taylor. Make sure you're a bloody legend and hit that like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the great content from these bloody legends.